Hi everyone, and welcome to the second part of my HeartGold hardcore Nuzlocke using ground types only. Previously, we managed to beat the Elite Four and Champion, but not without losses. Along our journey in Johto, we lost several of our team members. Espresso the Graveler, Frappe the Duck Trio, Macchiato the Nidoking, Americano the Sandslash, Cappuccino the Nidoqueen, and Red Eye the Donphan. We're left with our 4 remaining team members, Mocha the Gligar, Cold Brew the Mamoswine, Tapio the Steelix, and Lotte the Quagsire. However, there aren't really that many encounters left, and we still have a whole region to take on. A region that's arguably harder than Johto. After beating the champion, we're rewarded with a boat ticket to Kanto. We take this ticket and make our way to Olivine City. Here we can board the boat, and after playing hide and seek, we arrive in Vermilion City. In Kanto, all the gym leaders' level caps are a bit random, so I plan on taking on the gym leaders according to their level caps, but I may stray away from that concept every now and then. First on the chopping block is Lieutenant Surge. He's without a doubt the easiest of all Kanto gym leaders, as he's the electric type gym leader, and we're going quite under-leveled as a result. Against Surge we open with Lotte, as he sends out Raichu. Raichu goes for double team and I go for Earthquake, and we miss. We then proceed to miss again, and again, and again, and again. Yeah, a total of 8 misses, my god. And the Raichu just kept on spamming double team as well. After 8 misses, we finally connect, taking out the Raichu. In comes Electrode, and the first thing he does is also use double team. Please not again. Luckily, we instantly connect and take it out in one shot. Magneton also goes for double team, but we once again connect and take it out. In comes Electabuzz, and we're now out of Earthquake PP, so I switch to Mud Shot. This does little damage, especially after a light screen, but we eventually got a crit which takes it out. Lastly is another Electrode, so I go into Doppio. Electrode once again spams double team, and since Iron Tail already has low accuracy, I swap into Cold Brew. Cold Brew goes for Earthquake, and after 2 misses, we connect and take it out. The first Kanto badge is now ours. With that, I decided that before we take on another gym, we get ourselves a new encounter. We can catch a Cubone in the rock tunnel, so I make my way there and catch one. I name it Cortado. With our new team member, I make my way to Fuchsia City to challenge Janine. Janine's level cap is 50, so she's the reason we went in underleveled at Surge's gym. Against Janine, I open with Cortado, against her Crobat. I go for Headbutt, but it does little damage, so I swap into Cold Brew. He switches in on a critical hit wing attack, and he's then confused, but we pull through and hit an Ancient Power, which actually got the boost. We then get hit into the red, but luckily we snap out of confusion and take out the Crobat. Weezing comes in, so I bring out Doppio. We exchange some moves, but eventually our Iron Tail comes out on top and takes out the Weezing. In comes Gyarados, so I stay in and just use Rock Throw. This crits, taking it into the yellow, and the next one kills it. Against Venomoth, I swap into Lotte and a few Earthquakes take care of it. Lastly is another Gyarados, and after 3 Earthquakes, we have our second badge. After beating Janine, I was kind of lost. I really didn't want to take on Misty yet, and I was kind of struggling to find another path. So I took a detour to Johto in fact, where we can get ourselves another encounter. Remember the Rhyhorn we skipped in part 1? Well, we're about to pick it up. To do that though, we need to do the ownership challenge in the Safari Zone. I did the challenge, and the next step is to wait 3 in-game hours. While messing around in Kanto, the 3 hours eventually went by, so I went back to the Safari Zone, changed the biome, and we can now encounter a Rhyhorn. I catch it and name her Vienna. After that detour, I continued being lost. That was until I finally remembered I needed to go to the power plant. So I made my way there, did some plot stuff, beat up the Lost Team Rocket member, and we can finally continue the story. But first, we grind all the way until Vienna evolves into a majestic Rhydon. And with that, we make our way to the next gym leader. Despite Misty and Brock being capped at level 54, I decided to first take on Sabrina, whose ace is capped at level 55. I do this because Sabrina seems like a much easier challenge than both Brock and Misty. Against Sabrina, I open with Lotte, as she sends out Espeon. The plan here is simple: put the Espeon to sleep, bring in Mocha, set up sword stances, and sweep. Jan connects, but a Psychic then barely misses out on a kill, leaving Lotte at only 9 HP. Espeon is asleep though, so I bring in Mocha. I set up 2 sword stances, and after that, we just need to spam X Scissors. The first one takes out the Espeon, the second takes out the Mr. Mime, and the third takes out the Alakazam. After stalling long enough, it's finally time to take on Misty. I do this by first interrupting her date, and then deciding it's probably best to take on Brock first. So I wake up the Snorlax, make my way to Pewter City, and challenge Brock. Against Brock, we lead with Vienna, who's about to see her first action in battle. Brock sends us Graveler, but he falls easy prey to an Earthquake. In comes Omastar, so I swap into Lotte to take the Brine. I then go for Earthquake, which is an easy 2-shot, but due to Omastar using Protect a few times, it took a total of 4 turns. Against the incoming Kabutops, I had the same plan, so I click Earthquake, only to be met by an incoming Giga Drain. This leaves me in the yellow, and Earthquake leaves the Kabutops on a sliver. I debated what to do, but eventually swap into Cold Brew. One more Earthquake takes care of the Kabutops. The incoming Onyx puts me in the yellow with an Iron Tail, and he just manages to live an Earthquake. Fantastic. I swap into our superior Rock Snake, Doppio, and an Iron Tail takes it out. Lastly is Rhyhorn, who would be easy for Doppio. That is, if he would actually hit his moves. Doppio is put into the red before finally hitting an Iron Tail. He didn't quite manage to take it out, so I switch into Mocha. I use Feint Attack, and it does next to nothing. I know the Rhyhorn can't really do anything here, so I just keep on spamming it. It takes a really long time, but eventually the Rhyhorn goes down, and we can have our 4th badge. After beating Brock, I make my way to the Viridian Forest, where you can actually encounter Numel if you play Hoenn Sounds. I didn't know this beforehand, so I'll gladly take one for the upcoming fight with Erika. I catch it and name it Avocado. Avocado joins the team, replacing Cortado the Marowak, and we level it up and evolve it into a Camerot. Now, after all that stalling and prolonging, it is finally time for Misty, and I'm scared. Against Misty, I don't really have any other choice other than to open with Lotte, and he opens amazingly. He hits a critical hit Earthquake, and this instantly takes out the Golduck. In comes Lapras, and I need to put this to sleep. An Ice Beam crits me, taking me into the red, but Jan connects. Because Lotte is now low on health, he baits a random move, so I decide that Cold Brew is our best bet here. Lapras goes for an Ice Beam, which does just under half. I go for an Ancient Power, but it doesn't do that much. The Earthquake takes it in the low yellow, but the next one manages to take it out. In comes Misty's own Quagsire, and I go for another Earthquake. This does just over half, and Quagsire sets up an Amnesia. This is perfect, as Amnesia ups special defense, and Earthquake is physical. Next turn we can just easily outspeed and take it out. Lastly is Misty's Starmie, and I swap into Mocha. This was a bad move, as Water Pulse nearly takes him out. I then make a very risky play by switching into our near dead Lotte. The intent is to have him healed up by Water Absorb, and luckily it pays off. This was an amazing risk, but it was really the only thing I could do. I then decide to use Jan, as Starmie once again takes Lotte into the red. My god, what a battle this is. I need to swap now, so I go into Doppio, who knows Crunch. He first has to take an Ice Beam though, leaving him at just over 50%. Now we need to just spam Crunch as much as possible, hoping the Starmie stays asleep. And as luck would have it, we succeed. Starmie stays asleep and 3 crunches take it out. My god, this battle was really intense, but we can now proudly say we have our 5th badge. But we're not out of the clear yet. After Misty, Erika awaits us, our next near impossible battle. Whereas against Misty we still had a Water Absorb Quagsire, our best counter here is a neutrally weak Camerot. Okay, well, here's how it goes. We of course lead with Avocado, as Erika sends us Jumpluff. We're leech sheeted and we retaliate with a Lava Plume. This nearly one-shots it, but luckily we got the burn, which takes it out. In comes Victreebel, who sets up a Sunny Day, signing his own death warrant. One Lava Plume does the job. In comes Bellossom, who hits a nasty Solar Beam, but once again a Lava Plume takes it out. Lastly is Tangela, who uses Giga Drain, taking us to 5 HP. Luckily Lava Plume one-shots, otherwise the leech sheet damage would have killed us. We now have our 6th badge, and it might look like an easy sweep here. But if that first Jumpluff had set up a Sunny Day instead of a leech sheet, the run would be over. With the sun up, Victreebel would have outsped with its Chlorophyll ability, and it surely would have taken out Avocado. Without Avocado, this battle would have been lost. Luckily, that didn't happen, and we can move on. Next up is Blaine, who had to relocate due to a volcanic eruption. Alright. Anyway, Blaine is a pushover, like he always is. I open with Vienna, and an Earthquake one-shots Magcargo. The incoming Magmar sets up a Sunny Day, but he also cannot live an Earthquake. Lastly is Rapidash, who outspeeds us with Bounce and then paralyzes us. But, like the other two, he cannot live an Earthquake, and this wins us our easy 7th badge. At this point we only have 2 battles left, but these 2 battles will be incredibly difficult. Blue is always really strong in this game, and so is Red. First up is Blue, and after a lot of strategizing I came to the conclusion that this battle was dependent on Blue's Executor not hitting a range. This would allow me to set up and win, but if the Executor did hit the range, this run would be over. I open the battle with Avocado as he sends out Executor, and with a heavy heart I click Lava Plume. Executor hits the Leaf Storm and he needs to not get the range. And he doesn't. Avocado lives on just 2 HP and his Lava Plume kills. To be clear, the Lava Plume kill was also a range, so this was really lucky. Avocado now baits out the Gyarados, and now we're up for our next bit of luck. It's a game called How Long Will Gyarados Stay Asleep? I bring in Lotte and use Jan. Gyarados goes for a Dragon Dance, and the game of knowing how long he stays asleep suddenly became a lot more dangerous. Knowing I have no time to lose, I make the risky play and immediately swap into Mocha. This pays off as Gyarados just uses another Dragon Dance. Now that he's asleep, I set up Swords Dances. I only have the balls to go for 2, but it should be enough. A Rock Slide takes care of the Gyarados, Earthquake takes out the Rhydon, Earthquake also takes out Machamp, and Arcanine meets the same fate. Lastly is Pidgeot, who actually manages to live a Rock Slide. He uses Whirlwind, which brings in Cold Brew. Perfect. Cold Brew goes for an Ancient Power, which funnily enough doesn't kill. So next turn we go for Icy Wind. And this takes the Pidgeot in the low yellow. We need to switch though, so we go into our usual wall, Doppio. He hits the Stone Edge, taking out the Pidgeot and winning us this battle. Damn, this was a really difficult one. A lot could have gone wrong here, but luckily we managed to beat him. With blue down, we just have one more battle to win. And it's against red. Red is a very powerful team here, so I'm scared. I send him out silver, and it's time. Red's level cap is 84, because that matches his starter, and that is 88 Pikachu. 84 seems much more fair. I lead with Lotte against his Pikachu, and I go for Jan, as Pikachu hits a pretty mean Iron Tail. With Pikachu asleep, I swap into Mocha, and yeah, we're doing this again. I set up 2 Swords Dances, but I don't want to risk another. If Pikachu wakes up, he outspeeds and 2-shots us, so I just want it gone. I hit an Earthquake, and obviously it takes it out. In comes Lapras, who catches a Rock Slide and nearly goes down. Lapras hits his Blizzard, and that means the end for Mocha. Rest well, you Sweeping Legend. I bring in Cold Brew and hit an Ancient Power, and this actually gives us the boost. Another Ancient Power takes below half, but we're hit by Blizzard, which does good damage. Next turn, Earthquake takes out the Lapras, and in comes Blastoise. Knowing I have the boost, I go for another Earthquake, which does about 75% damage. Blastoise hits Blizzard, taking us below half, but next turn we take it out with another Earthquake. In comes Charizard, and I go for Ancient Power. This nearly kills the Charizard as he goes for Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz takes out Cold Brew, and he nearly kills himself with it. Another member down, rest in peace. Luckily, the heal damage takes care of the Charizard for us. But with that we have a blind switch in, and I opt for Avocado, expecting a Venusaur. This turns out to be correct, and while we have the type advantage, this battle is stacked against us. Venusaur hits Giga Drain for decent damage, and Lava Plume does about 60%. We also burn, but the burn and heal damage combined put him in the healing range. Next Lava Plume however also burns, so that's nice. Venusaur goes for another Giga Drain, and thanks to the heal damage from the last few turns, Avocado sadly goes down. And while he goes down, the Venusaur massively heals himself up. This is looking bleak. We only have 3 guys left, and 2 of them are quad weak to grass. So I don't really have another choice other than to go with Doppio, and I go for Stone Edge, hoping for a crit. Before we can attack though, Venusaur hits a Sleep Powder. I'm actually okay with this, as we can stall some turns here, and hopefully we can stall long enough for the burn and heal damage to do the job for us. This sadly just missed out on the kill, and Venusaur is once again healed up. We do wake up though, but Stone Edge does next to nothing. We're immediately put to sleep as well, and without the burn damage we can't really stall him out anymore. He also just recovers way too much HP with Giga Drain as well. After a few turns, Doppio falls, and I bring in Lotte as a last ditch effort. I go for Jan, but Venusaur outspeeds and kills Lotte. I only have Fiona left, but she also goes down to 1 Giga Drain. And with that, we actually have our first defeat on this channel. To be honest, I kind of rushed into this battle. I was going on a holiday and wanted to wrap up recording for this run, so I didn't really strategize as much as I should have. It's probably possible to beat Red with this team when prepared properly, but sadly, I did not manage to beat him. I did really enjoy the run though. Even though we didn't get to use many new Pokemon, Avocado and Fiona were great. So was Cortado, but he wasn't here for long. In fact, he's the only real survivor of this run, as he lives out his days happily in the box. Still, this was a great run, and I like both the Johto and Kanto part of it. It sucks that we lost on the literal last battle, but it is what it is. For now, it's time for a new run. If you guys have any suggestions for future runs you'd like to see, I'd love to hear those. I got a lot of them planned, but your suggestions are always welcome. Without further ado, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.